Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Kata, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here, and welcome if you are brand new. I talk about spiritual topics in these videos, and I usually share things that I've gone through myself and that I've experienced and that I've learned and grown from, so that you guys can also relate to a lot of those and grow as a result of hearing my story. A lot of times telling stories and sharing our stories with each other really helps us to gain perspective about any situation that we're in a given moment, and to hear how someone else has dealt with it or how they've handled it can be very useful, because a lot of times we tend to show up in the same way, right? And we tend to react in the same way to different things that are happening in our lives. And what I'm learning now, and what these eclipses have certainly taught me, some of the challenges that have come up for me during this eclipse season were most certainly about responding, not reacting. However, the reaction that I also had did also have some benefit, because it certainly allowed me to pull my power back with a certain individual, and that was very necessary because boundaries were getting crossed like continuously. So I did react in a not positive way, like I freaked out in other words, but at the same time that freak out was necessary, like I said, in order for this person to really get and understand finally that I'm not fucking around, I'm not joking when it comes to my boundaries. And because I've asserted myself and I've put my foot down several times before, but this individual just kind of kept thinking they could keep pushing those boundaries and testing them. So, I had to show up for myself. However, I did learn from that situation, and what I really learned was that I didn't like the way I went about it. I didn't like the fact that I completely freaked out and lost my shit. I didn't like the fact that I was yelling at the top of my throat. I didn't like the fact that it made me feel really drained and tired afterwards. But, that is the learning. That is what I learned from reacting instead of responding. And again, like I said, there was a benefit to it, because I think sometimes we need to really yell to get our point across, because you can say it really nicely several times, and if people keep ignoring you, that you have to make a point, right? And sometimes you have to kind of blow up on people to make that point very clear and understood. So that being said, I've been going through this process, and I haven't posted in actually several weeks. One reason because I was sick for quite a bit of time, and then another reason was just because I've been going through my own, still going through dark night, man. Dark night of the soul is really ego death. So it's a process when you begin to surrender your ego and you begin to let go of wanting to control things in your life, and you surrender to the journey rather than trying to control the journey. And that's not an easy process to go through. It's something that I've been struggling with, and I'm doing the work and I'm going through it, but it hasn't been easy. And it hasn't been easy because we get so used to operating out of our ego. And this is why I wanted to make this video today, because it became very apparent to me, people still don't realize that we have two navigation systems within ourselves. Okay, we have two navigation systems. One of those navigation systems is the mind, okay, which is ego based, because it's just kind of pure thought. And then the other is our intuition, which is feeling based, not thought based, but feeling based. And these two navigation systems are supposed to be used together in tandem to deliver us the right path, to deliver us to the right journey and to the right path that is meant for us. And when we're only operating out of one and not the other, and either or can be imbalanced, right? If you're only in your intuition constantly but you're never really using logical mind to make decisions, then that's not going to be good either. If you're always only in the mind and only just thinking and overthinking situations and people and stuff like that, then you're not using your intuition to help guide you through that process. So either one can be out of balance. It's really, the point is, I'm recognizing for us to just balance the two and be able to use our minds and our intuition in unison, in a beautiful harmony. And the way that I'm recognizing that I need to do that, because we always know when we're ignoring intuition. You know that feeling that you get when something is about to happen? You don't know what's going to happen necessarily. You don't have insight about it, but you just feel like, okay, something's going to change. Something is happening. Something is shifting in my life, right? That feeling is always there with all kinds of situations, with all kinds of scenarios, with all kinds of people that we encounter. Like, our intuition is constantly giving us messages and signs, but most people completely ignore that intuition. And sorry, I'm still kind of getting over this ridiculousness. And so the intuition is what needs to become like the primary navigation system, like I said, and then the mind becoming the secondary navigation system. So we kind of need to flip a switch within us. And I'm realizing that to flip that switch is not just flipping a switch. It's about creating momentum, because for myself personally, I can't just go one day from like, I don't know, like eating, for example, just like eating really bad or something, a lot of junk food, and then all of a sudden flip a switch, and then from the next day forth, I just have veggies and become vegan. In most cases, we can't do that. Why can't we do that? Because it's too much of a drastic change. Everything in life, if you notice nature and how nature operates, and our intuition operates the same way, is that it's always like these subtle changes, and they're little changes that accumulate to like a big change. And everything always comes in a progression. It doesn't just instantly kind of happen or instantly manifest. Things always take time to build. There needs to be like this momentum of energy. There needs to be this momentum of like flow that needs to start happening in order for us to be able to walk a new path. And I'm sharing this because I've been trying to walk a new path, and I have been walking a new path for quite some time now, but there are still things in my life that are definitely blocking me. My way of thinking, I noticed recently that my mind has been going kind of, I don't know if it's because of the eclipses or why, but my mind has been kind of going a little bit dark, where it's just pessimistic. And that's what I mean by dark, is just everything is like, well, I don't know if this is going to work out. And, getting into this silly mindset of questioning that things are going to work out, when I know for a fact that they're going to work out, because they always do. So catching myself in these cycles is like helping me realize that, wow, like we're all stuck in these cycles. And the reason why it's so difficult for people to change and to awaken and to become this amazing version of themselves is because we get so lost in the nitty-gritty of the mind, in terms of the over analysis and the overthinking of the mind. God, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, like, I know I constantly overthink things and overanalyze things. My brain is extremely analytical, and it wants to do things that way. But my spirit and my spiritual side, which tends to be stronger, will often overrule the brain and will be like, yo, that's not how it is. And you know that because that's not what the feeling is inside. So I'm connecting these dots, and I'm recognizing within myself, like, wow, how many times have I ignored my intuition? How many times have I had a feeling about needing to do something at a certain time, or a feeling to go somewhere, a certain place at a certain time, or just a feeling to like, like the intuition guiding me, like go outside, go into nature, Kata, like go hug some trees and go spend some time outdoors to, you'll feel better. And then I don't feel like it. Oh, it's cold outside. Right? And then I don't do those things. But then that just perpetuates more of the not doing it, because that is what I'm giving momentum to, right? So I'm realizing and recognizing how much it is important for me to listen to my intuition and follow the guidance of my intuition. And even when it comes to health, specifically, like if you have a feeling like something is off in your body, or something is just not quite right, something is persisting for a long time and it's not clearing up, I would really, really encourage you guys, like, check it out. Go and get it checked out. So many people wait and will put things off and, no, I'm fine, and and kind of do this whole like martyr thing. And that's so silly, and it's so ridiculous. Like, we have to realize that we are always given little signs and little symptoms and little inclinations into what's happening with us, really and truly, because our soul is always very present and very aware of everything. But if we don't follow that guidance, then you're just going to be stuck in the mind, and then the mind's going to be like, oh, not today, maybe tomorrow. And then you listen to that. Well, that's not your intuition talking. That's your mind talking. That's your mind. That's the ego going like, no, let's just stay in this comfort zone. We feel really good here, right? And that's the other piece too, is like I'm really, really trying to bust out of like comfort zones that I've been stuck in for quite some time. And I know I've been stuck in some of them for a really long time. And it's not hard to get stuck in a comfort zone. Why? Because to a certain degree it is comfortable, but at the same time it's so not comfortable, because when you feel, and again, this is your intuition guiding you, and when you feel like, damn it, like I've outgrown this stuff, like I've outgrown these people, or I've outgrown this job, or I've outgrown, that partner or whatever, like that feeling is there and it's within us and it's a feeling. And that's not coming from the mind. That comes from your heart, from your gut. It's a different kind of feeling altogether. And when you ignore that, when you continuously sweep those little thoughts or those little hints under the rug, we really are robbing ourselves of the opportunity to build momentum towards that new life that we want, towards the actual outcome of what we want. Excuse me. And I'm recognizing that within my own life, how I sabotage myself and how I don't follow my intuition when my intuition guides me to do certain things at certain times. I feel so stuffy. I don't know about you guys, but I had such a terrible sleep last night. It was like we had a huge snowstorm. I think Buffalo got hit mostly, but being in the Niagara region, like we definitely got a bit of it too. Not a lot. I think we only got about like 5 to 7 centimeters, so not a lot of snow, thankfully, here. But just the energy of the whole, I don't know, and there was like all this pressure and stuff. I couldn't sleep until like 3 a.m. or even past it, and I was just laying in bed staring at the ceiling going, what the fuck? So I'm definitely feeling a little tired today. And a little bit run down because of that tiredness, but I'm going to try and get out and go for a walk. But yeah, so just getting back to the intuition part, like it's so important that we don't ignore it, because so many people do. And then I was reading in the comments of a couple of my videos of people trying to put blame on other people instead of acknowledging how they've ignored their own intuition. And you will find that a lot. A lot of people are not willing to take accountability for their own mistakes or for their lack of action. You know what I mean? So, and I'm certainly now at a phase where I want to take responsibility for my lack of action, because there has been a lot of lack of action where I could have acted because I just wasn't willing to do the work. I wasn't willing to listen to my intuition instead of the mind. And I allowed my mind and my ego to really control me and to really kind of push me down a path that I really didn't want to walk, but I ended up walking it anyway. But sometimes we have to do that, and we have to make those mistakes in order to realize that the path we're walking is not the one we want to be walking on. So I'm trying to have so much more compassion towards myself, and realizing that, like, because I can be so hard on myself. Like yesterday too, like I literally had to like yell at my own mind. I was like, what the fuck? Like it was just so toxic, so negative, and like, oh, you didn't do this, and oh, you didn't do that. And it's, man, like it can really, that in itself, like that's how much momentum it has, my mind, right? So I'm trying to shift out of that momentum and like hit the brakes on it and slow that momentum right down. And one of the ways actually to slow it down is through positive affirmations. And it's extremely important for us to continually say positive affirmations out loud, like to ourselves, like I am affirmations, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, I'm abundant, I'm whatever. Because when you do that, and when you keep saying those things out loud, I'm really noticing that it shifts my entire entire vortex, my entire energy field, like everything within my energy field shifts and changes because I get out of that toxic momentum that my mind has been caught up in, and I bring myself back into my feeling and my intuition, and I'm reminding myself that I'm good even though I'm fucking up constantly along the way, and even though I'm making mistakes, and even though I'm, you know, going through challenges. I'm recognizing how all of those mistakes and all of those challenges are actually a part of the process. They're part of the journey. They're part of the learning that I'm going through and that we each go through. Like, we have to make mistakes in order to grow. And if I don't make those mistakes, then how would I know what the right journey would be for me? You know what I mean? So recognize where you're at right in this moment or in your life. You know, like, what do you operate out of? Are you constantly operating out of your mind and out of overthinking, and out of over processing, or and from your ego? Or are you operating out of your higher self, from your intuition, from your heart space, from that inner feeling within you that you know, it just feels good to follow, you know, that inner feeling, that guidance. So assess and kind of figure out where you're at. And if you find that you have given a lot more energy and a lot more focus to being in the mind, then you can reel yourself back out of there and, like I said, hit the brakes on that momentum and slow that momentum down by practicing going into the heart space more. And this is where I'm at the moment, and I'm really focusing on spending a lot more time within my heart space and within how I feel rather than what I think, because what I think can be a million different things within 5 minutes. So, but how I feel can be a very consistent type of experience where it's like, it's a strong feeling, and that feeling maintains within me until I do that action that the feeling is guiding me to do. So yeah, it's, the ascension journey is truly incredible, and it's truly wonderful if we are capable of looking at it that way, if we're capable of looking at ourselves with more compassion and more understanding for our mistakes and not judging ourselves, then it's possible. But you know, it takes time and it takes conscious effort to pay attention to how we are operating and what we are operating out of on a daily basis. So yeah, that's my message for today and for right now. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoy the snow. I will be getting outside myself soon and doing some shoveling, getting some exercise and some fresh air, but I'm really looking forward to it because I didn't go outside yesterday. So thank you so much for liking and for subscribing to the channel if you find this content helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.